God bless you.
Each and every one.
Yeah. Hello. It's your girl, Raven.
And Jesse.
And your sick boy, Jesse.
Yep, sick yet again.
You need to... You're obviously a part of the week.
Man, it's airplanes.
You're part of the week, so natural selection just needs to get rid of it.
Yeah, this is like the second time in a month I've had a cold now. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say I blame Delta. I blame Delta airline passengers.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, I mean, no, to be fair, right? So, like, you get sick maybe going out, but then you have to get back. Like, what are you going to do? And then you're just going to give it to the next person who's going out somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's a vicious cycle that'll never end. But I'm sick. So, let's continue with our intro.
Phlegm King.
Yep, Phlegm King, Jesse.
Yeah, and this is Co-op the Podcast, weekly podcast that talks about
everything. We should just be a sick podcast. That's what we should do.
The Phlegmcast.
Yeah.
Bring that back. Bring back that. I'm not sick, though. I'm just tired. I was day drinking today.
We went and watched the football game.
Yeah, playoffs.
Thank you, Dayquil.
Yeah, the Saints versus the Rams. And, man, what a game.
Yep. So, as always happens during playoff season, I feel like...
there's some sort of wild and crazy
something crazy
turn,
happens, right? Like... We were discounting the Rams the entire game, even all the way through halftime.
Let's let it be known that we're not fans for either of those teams. All of our teams kind of suck.
We're not going to name our teams on here because bad juju and all that stuff.
Yeah, bad juju.
But we'll tell everybody later after
the Super Bowl.
There you go.
None of my teams are in the Super Bowl, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's good for you. She's a Raiders fan.
I'm a Raiders fan. My dad's a Raiders fan. I've had to grow up with
Seahawks.
it. Yeah, we're Seahawks fans. We're from Atlanta, so we like the Falcons. So, and we're from UGA. We went to UGA, so we're Bulldog fans. So
we
Todd
really like
Gurley.
Todd Gurley. Yep, shout out to Todd Gurley. Which I'm glad that he's gonna go.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched the game. Within overtime, the Rams came back and they won. So we're happy for Todd Gurley making it to the Super Bowl. Good for you.
Crazy.
But I like the Saints. I'm from Mississippi, and that's the closest thing they have to a football team. So
yeah, Drew Brees is a dope ass player.
Yeah, we like Drew Brees.
Everybody on the Saints great. But yeah, definitely super surprised the Rams won. They crushed it, but like I said, there's turnovers.
Came out of nowhere.
Turnover season. That's what they should call the playoffs, is turnover season. So it's been happening for years, which is actually good, and that's the reason I hate basketball. So
because basketball is only turnovers.
No, basketball. There's there's
always fakes,
but I always feel like there's never a chance for somebody else to make it anywhere.
To win.
Yeah,
I have to say I don't watch.
It doesn't get better.
I don't watch enough basketball to really weigh in on this subject.
Yeah, you know what? We'll watch it more this year, and we'll talk about it in our podcast. Now that
I think we should have been watching it since maybe October.
Well, yeah, but football matters more. So
yeah, we only care about football.
Yep, but this podcast isn't about football. We're gonna do a football episode later next week.
Hopefully next week, next Tuesday. Be on the lookout for that, where we give our unprofessional advice to professional football players and
so
to people
that win the Super Bowl. Yeah, and we will talk a lot about how the season went. And a lot about how we did in our fantasy football.
Fantasy leagues, yep.
We'll talk to anybody who's maybe interested in doing a fantasy league next year. We'll talk a little bit about lessons learned from managing it. And
I don't want to make this about being a woman and liking football, but maybe we can give them some pointers. You don't know football very well. Where do you start? Where do you look?
Yeah, there's women and there are men who would be more interested in watching football.
Exactly.
It's even if you're not a sports person, it's just something fun to kind of watch and participate in and hear what's going on and know. And
you probably have at least a group of friends that likes to watch football on the weekends and likes to go to maybe your local dive bar and get cheese curds and hot wings and watch.
We ate cheese curds today. They were tasty.
I should have gotten some.
What was the name of that bar?
Mustard Seed.
Mustard Seed, that's cool.
It's like a pub, yeah. And they had like these really cool looking like smoking chairs, which obviously they haven't been allowed to smoke in that bar for a really long time.
For decades, probably.
Yeah,
well, I don't know.
It was dope. And they had like what is it? God damn, projectors. God.
Yeah, projectors, football, taste of cheese curds. It was good. I can't wait to go back.
But that's what is waiting for you if you get into watching at least a sport with your friends.
Yep. Plus, there's no better way to show hometown pride. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's not your hometown. Maybe you just live there right now.
Yeah.
Still. Anyways, football next week.
Yeah, next week.
Giveaway reminder? Should we?
Yeah, let's do the giveaway reminder. So today, January 22nd, when this episode comes out, is the last day to enter into our contest. Head on over to our social media pages at Co-op the Podcast, COOPTHEPODCAST. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, get amazing tabletop RPG goodies, including dice, Dungeon Mayhem, and the Dungeons & Dragons Arts and Arcana visual history. Again, you have only a little bit longer to get in there, like and comment the post, follow us on those on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and share. And
I guess our cutoff will be like midnight.
Midnight Pacific Standard Time. So technically, those of you in other area codes, or not area, area codes. Is another area code.
Time zones is what
I was looking for. You get a little bit longer, but midnight
Pacific Standard Time. They'll go in,
January
cap
20,
it, pull all the lists. We'll do our drawing the next day.
We will announce it January 23rd.
We're just gonna automate the number picking.
Yeah.
Machines will do the work.
Yeah, let the robots do it. That's what we pay them for.
Absolutely, I pay my robots really well. And this thing called Bitcoin. I don't know what it is, but I heard it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Let's see. So make sure you enter. Hotcakes.
Yeah, let's get right on into it.
Right on moving. We're moving fast in this one because I have a limited amount of time until I crash.
Till that cold medicine kicks in.
So much. Seriously. Dayquil, NyQuil. That's how you sleep. Right? And then,
Sleepquil.
Yeah, you just repeat the process over and over again until you're better.
Yeah, exactly. And then each of our episodes so far that I've been noticing, because not to put you out there, but I do the editing for the podcast mostly, just because Jesse's been out of town and he's been sick and stuff, and it was really easy for me to kind of just get it done. But I've noticed that the episodes have been getting longer and longer and longer. So we're trying to make it so you don't have to sit through our fucking rambling for...
As we sit here rambling
As we sit and ramble. But this week's theme...
So I didn't do anything new this week, because we still haven't even talked about our hotcakes.
I know, I was just going to talk about the theme first.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so just before we get started, our theme this week is cooking and baking.
Yep, something we enjoy. It's a good hobby. We did a cooking class recently.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that.
Shows.
Yeah, cooking shows. So maybe just some ways if you want to get more into cooking and baking, you can do that. So that's our theme.
Seriously, it's an adult skill we all should have.
Everybody should have it.
There's no reason we can't be really good at it either.
Yep. Don't spend $1 billion on like takeout. Make it yourself. Feels good.
Tastes better for you.
Yep. Cheaper.
And there's a sense of accomplishment.
Yep, for sure.
If the extent of your skills is making toast, that's pretty bad.
I mean, but at least it's something.
It's something, yeah. But we'll talk about it.
All right. We'll go back to it, but let's go back to our hotcakes.
Hotcakes.
So yeah, like Jesse said, he's been out of town.
Yep, out of town, getting sick on planes, but mostly really busy on the road. So I have done pretty much nothing new, fun, or exciting, which is the worst. Travel just takes it out of you hard. Mm-hmm. So, so I haven't done anything cool, so I have nothing new to report, but Raven has done a lot of stuff, because when I'm gone, all she gets to do is new stuff.
It's true. And last week how we talked about all those shows I was going to watch on Netflix?
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of them.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that. I watched shows that I was like, oh, this looks really interesting. I should probably write down.
Other new stuff. Yeah.
Other new stuff that's interesting.
Like your queue is like not first come, first serve. It's like last in, first out.
Right. Yeah. Sure, whatever.
Well, yeah, so it's like all the stuff that comes in at the new stuff comes in, and then you immediately watch it.
I get you.
And then the stuff just keeps getting lower down on the list, and like you're eventually just never gonna watch some of that other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Sure.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
I'm there with you.
So what did you watch this week?
This week I watched 2 shows for the most part that I want to talk about. I don't think I actually watched anything else. I did a lot of yoga. I played some Dungeons and Dragons, and I watched some TV shows. So
yeah, which once we do another Dungeons and Dragons episode later, we'll probably have more to report too.
Yeah, and this actually some of
some material.
The shows that I'm talking about have to do with our Dungeons and Dragons game, which is kind of cool. So the first one I'll talk about is I haven't gotten too far into it because a lot of my week was like, okay, well I have to clean, so maybe let's not watch an anime that, in Japanese. So I watched Grace and Frankie.
Yeah, we take the side of subbed over dubbed.
Always. Yeah, and I don't understand Japanese. Even though I'm learning with Duolingo, I can count to 7.
Yes, Duolingo, pay us money. Everybody, use Duolingo. You can learn lots of stuff.
Lots of languages.
Does that sound like an ad a little bit?
Yeah. So hold on, let me do it. Here. Okay. So I've learned how to count to 7, but I don't know how to count to 5 yet. I don't know 5.
Yeah, for whatever reason, 5 is missing.
Yeah, I think it's just based on
the first
characters.
one is like 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, it's the characters that you learn, and we haven't learned the character for 5, but it's ichi, ni, san, yan. That's 4. I just counted to 4. And then I don't know 5. I think it's go. And then 6 is roku. And then 7 is nana.
Alright, that makes sense if 5 is like a G sound. Because the next set in the Duolingo thing, like the third one, it has G's.
We got way off topic.
Yeah. But yeah, it has G's in it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But let's go back to, while I'm cooking and cleaning and stuff, I can't watch an anime. So I watched Grace and Frankie, which has Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin in it, and it's basically a show about these 2 70-year-old women whose husbands have been in love with each other for 20 years, and they decide to finally leave their wives and get married. And so these old people jokes, it's hilarious. Old people jokes, old people humor. Yeah,
go watch it. It's pretty funny. It's old people stuff, like. And I know that's probably a bad summary of what it is, but, like, seriously, that's it. Like, if you think old people are funny, you'll have a great time.
There's a lot of stuff about, like, having old people sex. Like, that's a topic that they grace a lot.
It's every sort of regular joke in regular everyday society with the word old people in front of it. Old people sex, old people driving, old people whatever.
Old people smoking dope. Yeah. Like, all those things. They'll find
that's
jokes.
What makes it funny.
Yeah, and that's what makes it funny. So I really do recommend that. If anything, it's a really good show to kind of have on in the background while you're doing other stuff. That's kind of why I had it. The other show that I watched while Jesse was away was an anime, and it's got a longer title, but it's mostly well known as Madoka Magica, which is basically an anime about basically a girl who makes a deal to get magic powers, and has to fight witches. And I think it's very good. It's got the artistic direction of it seems a little bit amateur, but I don't know who exactly produces it.
Style,
yeah, and that's pretty cool. But then it brings in, it's kind of like a mixed media kind of bag, where in some of the other areas it's kind of like collage and realistic kind of artwork that's brought into it that kind of takes you into another world, which is very easy. But it's like a darker version of Sailor Moon is kind of what this show is. And the reason why I'm watching it is because it has to do with our new D&D campaign that we're playing with a couple of friends. And one of the characters is kind of like based off of this. So I definitely recommend it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of the characters that she kind of based it. It's loosely based off of that. I think she had another idea for a character that was more similar to the main character, but now it's a little bit more. She's made it her own, which is good, which is what we always recommend in Dungeons and Dragons too.
Don't copy somebody else's work too. Yeah.
Don't copy exactly. Yeah, use it as inspiration. So those are the shows that I watched this week, and I definitely recommend them. I would say that they're for everybody specifically, and Jesse watched Grace and Frankie, and he was a little apprehensive at first because he doesn't want to hear about old ladies masturbating, but
No, it's not that I don't want to hear about it. I just don't want to see old people hands. You ever see, like, old claw hand? Like, they call them claws and things. It's really accurate.
Right. But, I mean, so it's the hottest of a lot older generation, which obviously we're not going to have any old listeners anymore. They're like, bye, bitch. You don't want to hear about my beautiful body. I ain't listening to your podcast.
We celebrate old people doing their old people things, but doesn't mean it's not weird.
Right.
Wrinkly.
Yeah. It is kind of wrinkly. But yeah, everybody's really great in it. I love all the actors and actresses in that. And
it's
then
funny, yeah.
Jesse hasn't watched Madoka Magica.
Nope.
So he hasn't watched that at all, but he seemed interested when I gave him kind of a rundown, and I don't want to ruin anything about it, so I would definitely... You can watch both of those on Netflix, so you could do that. And then, do we want to talk about briefly, like, we're watching Magic Clover?
Oh, Black Clover.
Clover, god damn it.
Yeah, Magic is hot in anime and manga right now. Or, it's not right now. Like,
it's always,
come out for, like, years, yeah. But, like, you know, fairy tale and, like, that whole, like, that style of, like, magic is magic, not
mages.
Like... I feel like,
characters.
You know, like, so if we say Sailor Moon versus this one, Sailor Moon was obviously some form of magic, but they didn't call it, like, magic, right? It was just, like, a power they had. And people just had, like, powers.
Moon power and...
But I guess to explain things a lot lately, like, a lot of places, or a lot of anime are like, you know, magic
This is where you're getting it from.
So we'll talk about it more later. Again, we'll do like an
anime specific
manga
episode.
Yeah, like we have episode categories to do, and we can talk about it more.
That's definitely what we're gonna.
But yeah, Black Clover is really, really, really.
We recommend it, but we'll give a more in-depth review once we actually finish all of the anime.
Right? Yeah, like we're still not that far in Black Clover. Like we're
at episode 30, I think.
Yeah, that's not that far. It's only 15 hours worth of anime.
Oh man, my sides hurt. My abs, you guys, my abs.
But yeah, so what else did you watch? Because I know you watched a cooking show.
I did watch a cooking show, and this kind of brings us into our theme because I definitely think it's a show that if you are interested in cooking, great segue. So guess what, guys? We're in their hotcakes.
Whatever happened to Segway? That company got out of business?
I don't know. Didn't you used to like take a Segway? You took like a Segway tour before.
Like 6 years ago.
I've never been on a Segway.
Yeah, that was the one and only time I've ever been on a Segway. But yeah, no, Segway. Yeah. Went out of business, I bet.
Anyways.
Yeah. Only people keeping them in business for the tour industry.
And the high-tech industry. I bet they still have them at Apple. They got them in the Is it silicon or silicone? It's silicon.
Silicon.
Silicon?
Yeah. Silicon.
Is it spelled like a kill? Like K-I-L-N? God damn it.
I don't see it.
All right. We're
silicon.
Rambling again. God damn it, Jesse.
But yes, what else did you watch this week, though?
Yes, so I watched a show that I would definitely recommend to anybody that's interested in cooking, anybody that likes cooking. I think this show and the cookbook in general are something that you should invest in. And it's called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. And it's a TV show that goes through those specific aspects of cooking. Because once you've mastered those, you can master really... I mean, obviously, if, like, you're working on a dish that's kind of hard, like, it's going to be a little bit harder to master that. But to make good food, you have to master salt, fat, acid, heat.
Right. And so they're talking about, like, from adding it, like, what is salt balanced with, and, like, what sort of flavors does it pull out, you know?
Right, exactly.
How to properly melt down fat and get, like, a good flavor. And...
Right, that, and so it's really cool because each episode is about salt, or fat, or acid, or heat. There's only 4 episodes in the first season, and I'm not sure when they're going to make another season, but I hope they do soon. But so each one is in a different location. So fat, which is the first episode, is in Italy. So they'll talk about they go and they pick olives, and they show you how they make olive oil, and so that's
which is really a fat, by the way.
Which is a fat, no way.
I think that might be news to some people who again might not cook as much. That oil is a fat, right?
It's the type of fat that you need for cooking, and you can you cook with fat or with oil, or you put it on raw without having been cooked a lot of times. So, and
it's
it
like,
adds
we all
like
know
a flavor.
butter is like a fat.
Yeah. We know avocado is a fat at this point.
Well, yeah, but it's not like that. That's not like that. Like similar to like butter, right? But like butter is a fat. Olive oil is a fat. For like that can be kind of interchangeable almost. I mean, obviously look up how to interchange them if
exactly.
you want.
Well, and then it goes into fat in meat and what you should look for in meat in relationship to fat, because the more fat that's in an animal within it, the marbling of like your steaks, the better it's going to taste. And it's not 100. Fats aren't that bad for you. There was this whole stigma in the 90s that came out that fats are obviously like really bad for you, and that's not necessary.
Funded by Big Sugar.
Yeah, which everybody's now anti-sugar, but also sugar isn't that bad for you. Like as long as everything is in moderation. But so they talk about like where you should try to find the fat in that specifically, and then the next episode is salt, which people don't really understand how to use salt anymore, because again, like a lot of people think that the more salt you use, obviously that's going to affect your high blood pressure and
I was
things like that.
reading actually recently that like the salt now is like similar to how fat's coming back, salt's coming back, and like people are like, it doesn't actually increase your blood pressure,
exactly,
like that, and actually is really good for you. Yeah. But
one of the main things that I thought was really interesting is they go to Japan for the salt episode. And Japan has 4,000 different varieties of salt. And that just is mind-blowing, because, like, you go to the store, and what do you have? You have, like, I think it's Morton's or whatever, the girl with the umbrella.
Well, for, like, basic table salt. But even at our store right around the corner, we got, like, a dozen different types of salt.
You don't have 4,000.
Yeah. It depends on how they break it down. It's, like, rock salt, you know,
right. But and then
salt.
And that kind of goes with it, too, is that each salt is different. So if... say you're using Morton's, this is what they were saying, it has twice the amount of saltiness than Blue Diamond's salt does. And so within the shelf, there is a variety. So when you're looking at recipes too, take that into account, because your salt might be saltier than the person that wrote the recipe salt. So keep that in mind. The next one was, I think, acid, which was based in Mexico, which a lot of Mexican cooking has to deal with citrus and acidity, like ceviche and stuff like that.
Yeah, which actually cooks the raw food through the acid.
Exactly. And so that episode was really cool. Like they go to, so I didn't know that honey was acidic. It's actually on the acidic side. So they go and they meet somebody that's doing some bee farming and beekeeping, and they talk to them about like honey being acidic, and they taste some that's actually more acidic, which is very interesting. In the heat episode, she's having a dinner party for her friend, so she just kind of goes over how, I mean, she cooks a chicken, how heat affects that. She does,
sure.
She's from Iran. Her family's from Iran.
Heat seems to be the most basic concept of these.
It is, but it's a little bit different because they're trying to teach you how to harness heat the best way. So, and they do it through different things. Like she makes a dish from Iran that is basically like crunchy rice. And I don't want to butcher the pronunciation, and I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it sounds delicious. And
I think I know what you're talking about, because I think there was some show where somebody cooked it in a cooking challenge or something, and they were talking about how it was like a comfort food from...
Yeah, it's a comfort food from Iran, and they made it, and it's how, I mean, you're making crunchy rice that's a little bit... it's cooked thoroughly. However, it's a little bit crunchier on the bottom, and how do you get that without burning it? Things like that. So I think that salt, fat, acid, heat is something that you should definitely look at if you're trying to kind of get a better grasp of
and it might be more intermediate or advanced level almost, right? Like if you are just kind of just getting into cooking.
Well, I also think it's very fun to watch it, even if you're not interested in cooking. I think there was like
that's
a moment.
The thing about cooking shows.
Right. There was one part where they're making pasta, which goes into our theme. But basically, they're making pasta, and she's rolling out the dough, and you use rice flour to make sure that it doesn't stick. And you just hear like the sound of the pasta, the dough on top of the rice flour, and it has like this kind of scratchy sound, and it's just really soothing. Like the entire show is very well made, very well produced, and then just very pretty. Ripley.
No.
Our pets are playing. They've decided to play right underneath the mic. Go lay down.
Go lay down.
Thank you. I love you so much. She's like, I love you too, Mom. But I'm gonna bite this cat's butt. I just gotta. All right. So, salt, fat, acid, heat. Good to watch. If you're into cooking, good to watch. If you're not into cooking.
Yep, there's a cookbook you can grab. Yep.
Cookbook you can grab.
That we have that. Yep, yeah, we got it as a gift. It was awesome.
Yeah, like last year?
Yeah, last year, I think.
Yeah.
So, we had a lot of cookbooks now on our shelves. We were really stacking the cookbooks, like cool cookbooks too, not like your basic cookbooks like your mom had.
Yeah, we
Everything
got some.
is cool these days.
We got some Anthony Bourdain, which R.I.P. my man.
Yep.
I have to find a new place on my top 5 laminated list.
Yeah.
He's gone now. It's so sad.
But yeah, lots of cool cookbooks out there. But yeah, so we did a cooking class.
Yes.
Because we should talk about that.
Yeah, for my birthday.
It was super, super fun.
Jesse got it for me.
Yeah, one of the things we did for Raven's birthday, we learned how to make pasta.
Yes.
Which was awesome because I've fooled around with some pasta making back in the day. I think I
have not.
Thought it was cool and was like, hey, I could figure out how to do this. And
I could do it regularly.
You know the basics. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do any of this regularly.
No, yeah.
We did buy a pasta maker, so we could do it
regularly.
regularly.
We bought a pasta maker. That's how they get you. They fill you up with red wine, and then they're like, here, buy this 500.
Red wine, you do something really cool that you didn't think you could do, and you're like, I'm gonna do it at home
this
all the time. Yeah.
Nope.
And then you buy a pasta maker, and they'll sit in the cabinet for years. But we'll use it. It'll be cool. But yeah, so we made ravioli, and we made some longer, thinner noodles. I can't remember the
I don't think it was fettuccine, but it was something very similar to fettuccine.
Yeah. All very simple. Like, pasta is pretty simple in its construction. It's like egg and flour.
And a little bit of water sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but really all you're doing is just like mixing it all together and then just like smooshing it nice and flat and like folding it. I think that's what's really important is making sure you like kind of like knead it really well and like put it through the machine.
Yeah, make sure it's well mixed, but not over mixed. It's really fun to do one of these cooking classes though because one, you get to eat it, and that's really fun. But you have someone there, a professional there, to kind of help you through it. Whereas if you're doing it by a recipe online, one, you're not all using the same ingredients, kind of like going back to salt, acid, fat, heat. I got that totally mixed up. Salt, fat, acid, heat. You don't maybe have the same ingredients as the person doing the recipe, whereas in this cooking class, you do have the exact same ingredients and you're kind of on the same playing field. So
yeah, I'd say like if we had tried this at home, I don't think it would have tasted as well.
It wouldn't have been as easy. And I think we did it.
Yeah. So
it's okay.
Acceptable.
It's okay. So definitely recommend if you want to kind of expand your horizons on what you make, do this. We did a Meatless Mondays version.
Yes, the place we went was Whisk in downtown Bellevue for anybody who's local to Washington, Seattle kind of area. But they have tons of these places spring up all over, so I'm sure you can find one locally to you.
Definitely.
Check it out, and there are a lot of options. Like Raven said, we did a Meatless Monday because we really were interested in that vegetarian kind of
I eat vegetarian for my health, so.
Who doesn't like eating vegetarian sometimes, too?
Yeah.
If you don't, you should try vegetables because they're awesome.
Yeah. Again,
if
you like Breaking Bad, if that's your favorite show and you don't like vegetables, I don't know you. Who are you?
Yeah, you're directly targeting.
I feel like I'm targeting somebody specifically.
Yeah, he knows.
he knows who he is.
He'll be a guest one of these weeks.
Yeah.
So
maybe next week
defend
for
himself.
football.
But actually, that'd be a really good one for football.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I forgot what I was saying now with all that. Like, I remember as a kid, though, people being like, oh, yeah, like, eat your vegetables. Well, like, kids hate vegetables. And I was like, damn, these things taste good. I love vegetables. Yeah, so I'm like,
the only vegetable that I don't like, and I've never liked my entire life, is I do not like carrots. That's it. And it hasn't changed. Hasn't changed since I've grown up, though. What vegetable did you not like? Or what?
There's never been a vegetable I don't like.
Avocados
are avocados a vegetable?
I think they're technically a fruit.
Yeah, see, there you go. Never in a vegetable I don't like then, because avocados can suck my dick. But,
that is so rude.
Eggplant with, like, a little salt, just, like, grilled up. My dad used to do that, like, when I was younger, I remember him doing it, like, very rarely. But he'd do it, and, like, I didn't really know what eggplant was, or, like, I never really had it. Delicious.
Aubergine.
Loved it. Yeah.
Eggplant emoji.
Yeah.
He loves his eggplant emoji.
But yeah, like, that was one, that introduced me to different types of vegetables, I guess, earlier. Yeah. Celery was always good.
Love celery.
Carrots were always good. Cucumber, tomato.
Yeah, my mom used to, as I was growing up, would make, like, kind of like a Greek salad, but with, like, cucumber, tomato. Our cat is literally playing right now.
He never plays.
He never plays.
He never wants to play with his toys.
But we're over here, so he wants to play now. So
yeah, he's like, hey, check this out.
If he makes a lot of noise during this episode, we're just going to have to deal with it. And you're going to have to deal with it because you love us.
Parker, come here.
Hey, good boy. He's playing with his little ball. But my mom used to make a cucumber, tomato, and red onion salad with some olive oil and, like, salt and some acidic, like, vinegar and lemon juice.
Toss some feta cheese in there.
Feta cheese. She always put feta cheese. But look where we are with that. It doesn't have heat, but it has at least 3 of the main
acid,
kind of things.
Salt,
fat with the cheese.
Feta. The feta. Yeah.
And with olive oil, because you put a little bit of olive oil in there.
Olive oil too. Yeah.
No heat though. But absence of heat is still.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that does sound really good.
Yeah. So I would definitely recommend if you're in a city that allows or has cooking, allows you the opportunity to take a cooking class, I would definitely do it. I mean, even if you think you're really great, have a Monica Geller moment and go to a cooking class and just show everybody up.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can find ones out there. Like, I think there were some at Whisk even that we could do that taught, like, the fundamentals and things like that, how to cut, how to melt butter. You can also
buy multiple packs, like packs for like intro cooking classes. There was a girl in our class that actually was doing that. Her husband bought it for her, and he didn't come with her, so I'm guessing she's just not great at cooking. And he was like, you need to go get better. You need to work on this. That's really rude.
Yeah. No, it was a super fun date as well, so if you're looking into taking a date somewhere, it's dinner.
I think it'd be fun to do with friends too. Like we talked about taking our friends to go do it. So definitely recommend doing that. Like we said, we watch a lot of cooking shows as well. Some of our
there's always a good cooking show on.
Yeah. What's your favorite cooking show, do you think?
Ever?
Yeah, of all time.
Like that we're watching right now.
Ever. Let's just do Ever.
Ever would definitely be Good Eats with Alton Brown.
I love Good Eats.
Alton Brown is the man. I mean, like, on Food Network, I mean, there's a whole television station dedicated to this, so we should realize. And I
two, technically, because there's Food Network and Cooking Channel. I think
Cooking Channel is the other one. Yeah, Cooking. And actually, that's where, so supposedly, we just found this out today, which I am ashamed of us, but they redoing.
I knew.
You knew? Okay. They're redoing Alton Brown's Good Eats. Good Eats Reloaded, it's called, on the Cooking Channel, and it is already bumping. Already happening. Which, how I did not know that, I do not know.
Because we don't have cable.
Oh, yeah, we don't have cable. Fuck cable.
Sorry, I went to go get coffee, listeners. I'm so tired.
But yeah, Good Eats was definitely my all-time favorite show. And Alton Brown is just, like, the best personality in cooking, if you ask me. I mean, he hosts so many different shows, or did at least, on the Food Network and all those places.
Yeah, he does Cutthroat Kitchen and Iron Chef. And Good Eats was very great because it brought science into cooking, which obviously, if you like salt, acid, fat, heat, whatever, I can't get it right, and I will never be able to get it right.
I don't think the order really matters. As long as you say all four.
All four.
Yeah. But yeah, he definitely was probably like a pioneer in science and cooking, at least from like the entertainment perspective. I'm sure chefs out there were doing it, but he kind of brought it up. Yeah.
It's always about, so cooking and baking are literally a science. Baking's a little bit more scientific.
Yeah.
You have to
Which is your favorite show, probably? What's your favorite cooking show?
So, I mean, I have two. I mean, if it's a cooking show, it's anything with Anthony Bourdain in it. I thought that his shows were very, very interesting.
His shows cooking shows, or were they
They're
more like...
They're kind of like cooking shows where he kind of goes into... okay, I'll say a lot of them are more dining shows, but it goes into the kitchen, and he kind of, like, they show you a little bit of
it's really good
done.
for showing how, like, the entire world is connected. Because if we talk back on the, they went to different locations for salt.
Yeah, exactly.
Heat, right? Everywhere in the world, they were all developing these techniques throughout society kind of at the same times. And
right.
But also had, like, they're very unique. Like, everybody used a little salt, but, people used it differently. Everybody used heat. Everybody used fat. Mm-hmm. Everybody used acid, but, like, they all used it a little differently. And so that's, I think, what and that's why he was so great, right?
Exactly. And that's the draw of his TV show. And then plus, a lot of us in this world, how many places are we going to get to go in our lifetime to be able to really enjoy these? So another TV show that's very similar to that, where it's kind of you're traveling, you're eating different foods, and you're learning how to cook those different foods, is Bizarre Foods with I think it's Andrew Zimmern.
Zimmerman,
because it's spelled Zimmern. It's spelled Zimmern. Look at it. It's
Andrew
spelled
Zimmern. I don't know.
Zimmern? Okay, whatever. Yeah. You guys know we suck at names. That was the entire episode last week.
Yeah.
But his is really good because, you're eating foods that you never would have imagined would be good, and they kind of show it in this really
I kind of he was 1,000% probably inspired by a lot of what Anthony Bourdain did. So, because his show started after, I believe, and it's very similar.
Yeah, his show started in 2006, where I think Anthony Bourdain was around the same time.
Yeah, it was around the same time. But either way, definitely two very good shows to watch. And, it is definitely very sad that we lost Anthony Bourdain this last year.
That made me really sad.
Yeah, and, I know that I think the production team was, still wrapping up some stuff for his final season.
Yeah, I think his final season has actually come out.
Has it come out already?
Yeah, I think it's really come out this year.
And definitely everybody go support the work he did and stuff like that. Check out all the shows that he did produce. So.
The work that he does brings light to areas of the country that aren't always shown, and definitely deserve the attention. So I think it's definitely a thing.
I think his shows will last for ages.
Yeah, it's always going to be great to
his
watch.
His show will be good and relevant and
absolutely.
Streamed.
But my most current favorite show that includes cooking or baking, it's mostly baking.
Yeah.
It's the Great British Bake Off, and I know that it's
a great
just
show.
Yeah, it's so trendy right now, but I just think that it's so inspiring for someone that's interested in baking.
Yeah, the best part about it is everything's the best part about it. Literally a great
everything
show.
Everything is so good.
Super awesome. It's great to follow the candidates,
everybody's
the hosts.
So nice to each other, going to the candidates. Everybody's so, kind and wants the other person to succeed, but then also wants themselves to succeed. I think I don't want to say that it's because it's British and, versus American shows, but I feel like American competition shows like that are always more interested in showing the drama, whereas Cutthroat Kitchen does it in a really interesting way,
right?
But Chopped doesn't do that. Nobody really cares about the other person. They're more focused on themselves. But I feel like in other competition TV shows on American TV, it's always who's gonna fuck over this person this week? But the Great British Bake Off doesn't do that.
Besides for that one time, that one lady stole the.
She took his ice cream out. Yeah, the Baked Alaska, which Jesse, you made a Baked Alaska.
I have made Baked Alaska before, and we should make it again because it's actually not too bad.
If you don't know what Baked Alaska is,
it's like ice cream covered in meringue on top of a cake.
On top of a cake.
That's how I did it. Yeah, a cake with ice cream covered in meringue and then toasted on the outside. Yeah. The meringue, so it's all, it's baked, right? It's a baked.
Alaska.
But it has ice cream in it, so that somehow relates it to Alaska. So, it's really, really good. Yeah, and every season is really great.
The challenges are always very fun to watch.
Yeah, every time I'm watching them, I'm like, man, I would eat that so hard right now.
I would eat the shit out of that right now.
Everything, right? And we're not sweets people. We don't normally eat sweets. We don't normally like sweets. We're not really into it, but seriously, every time they do something. And of course, they do breads too, and savory things. They do breads,
and then they do like savory meals. They do savory stuff a lot more often than you'd think, which is kind of what inspired me for. I cooked for my birthday instead of having other people cook for my birthday, which usually people don't do, but.
Well, you wanted to make
I wanted to do pie, so I made because we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and we did that kind of.
It was a pie campaign.
It was a
I think
pie
we mentioned
contest.
it in the past. Yeah. It was actually super, super fun to go through. Highly recommend it. Again, what was it called? Banquet of the Damned.
Banquet of the Damned on DM's Guild.
Check it out. Yeah. We'll talk about it more at some point, but we beat the boss. It was fun. Anyways.
Yeah, but I made because there were pies, I made meat pies. And I made a fruit pie. So the meat pies were like a chili. So it was vegetarian chili meat pie.
Yeah, we told some people it had meat in it.
And they believed us. Yeah, so I think that's pretty exciting. And
it was delicious.
Was it? Yeah. Okay, good.
One thing is we did not make the puff pastry.
The puff pastry that was on top, I just didn't have time.
Yeah, we made the base pastry and then we filled it. But then for the pastry on top, we went and we bought a store-bought one, and that was the worst pastry. It was all really tasty, but that was the worst pastry of all the pastry we had.
Nice.
So, But the store-bought pastry was worse than the homemade pastry.
Yeah, so we topped it with a puff pastry, but I mean everybody really liked it, and I had to basically kind of take recipes online and use what I knew of baking and. I don't know a lot about chemistry. I'm not very scientific, but kind of use what I knew to turn it into something that'll work better for making. I love chili. That's just one of my favorite foods, and I'm really good at making it for some weird reason. But using my knowledge of cooking already to make a really good meat, quote unquote, pie, savory pie. And then for... instead of having a cake, I made a fruit pie, which was a salted caramel apple fruit pie, which Jesse helped me with a lot because the meat pies took a lot longer than I expected them to.
Yeah, I worked on the filling, but the pastry, and that's what you wanted to play around with. Yeah,
exactly, because the pastry part's pretty hard, and that it takes a little bit. But when you're watching these TV shows like The Great British Bake Off, you're watching it and you're learning while you do it. And I think that's so great about having something like the Food Network and the Cooking Channel, because while you're just sitting there absorbing the television, you're actually learning as you're going, which I think is really impressive for these TV shows. You don't expect to learn, you're just expected to kind of be a part of this fad kind of TV show, but you're actually learning through the process.
Absolutely.
And so just for, they're presented by amazing people, the different seasons, they're now different hosts. So first it was, Mel Geiderick. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I'm never going to be good at it. And Sue Perkins, and they were so funny to watch. And then they moved from the BBC to Channel 4. And so with that, they had to switch their host to Sandy Toksvig, which is, I believe, Danish. I think she's definitely Danish. So she's great. We think she's hilarious. And then Noel really Fielding. Yeah. Noel Fielding is so great in it. If you don't know who Noel Fielding is, he is the Mighty Boosh. He is Old Greg. He is
the IT crowd.
The IT crowd.
I can't remember what the name of the character, Neil or something. I think it was something. Super funny guy though. Yeah. For his kind of awkward humor. He does a great job on the show. And then the contestants themselves are all super great too. Mm-hmm. My favorite was Liam.
Yeah, what season was he on?
I think it was season 8. Was that the most recent one?
No, the most recent one was season 9, and that's the one that had Kim Joy and those on it, which was really good.
Liam was my favorite though, for sure. And he's getting his own show and his own cookbook that I think we are gonna order. I can't remember.
We're gonna order it. Liam Charles, yep, that's his name. And his cookbook is Cheeky Treats.
Cheeky Treats. Gonna get it. Can't wait.
Yeah, we're gonna order that.
Yeah, he was really great. He was a student, and you could tell this is a hobby for him. And this is what I like about everybody on the show. Mm-hmm. I'm just using him as an example, but literally every character can speak to you in the same way because it's something they're interested in. They're obviously good bakers to get there, and they just you can see them grow and develop as they're on the show too. And for some reason, he just stuck out in my mind, and I saw him grow on the show and was like, damn, that's dope. So
right. My favorite person was Nadia Hussein, I think is how you say her last name. I know it's Nadia.
Yeah,
I know,
Nadia.
but she is so
was great too.
She was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, loved her too because the way she grew, I don't think her baking got better. Her baking was always top notch.
She became more confident in her baking, which I think is really
so cool.
necessary because I think that was what kind of messed me up with my own personal baking is I just get so self-conscious, and I think that affects the way that it turns out. You gotta put good juju in there.
I'm telling you, it's a good show. It captures so much.
So we recommend that.
That's a good favorite for sure. Good Eats was my old favorite. I think I might be with you now though too. Now that we talked about it more.
Right.
Yeah, that just might be it right there.
Right.
I mean, favorite show.
All those shows are really great, and you can find most of them on Netflix.
Netflix has all of them. Like I said, there's cooking shows all the time. Because speaking of Netflix and cooking shows, wasn't there that one in October, right? That was really crazy. Mm-hmm. With what was her name?
Christine McConnell.
Yeah, The Curious Creations of Christine McConnell.
Which is actually really funny, because I'll do a little anecdote, because I have not seen this show, but I followed Christine McConnell on Twitter forever, or Instagram
she was
forever.
Instagram famous, and that's how she got a show.
Exactly,
which is
and
crazy.
she would just make the coolest creations. I mean, she did like an entire like aliens kind of themed bake.
And the show was really, really weird when we watched it, like the puppets and other stuff. You're like,
I thought it was a little too weird, but I don't think I gave it enough time.
Well, yeah, it's like it would have been better if she just cooked the entire time, to be honest with you.
Right, instead of the weird puppet people.
The story they were putting on there is a little weird, but whatever. The cooking was really good, right? Like she made these bones with pretzels and white chocolate. Like they looked like real bones.
They did look like real bones. Also, crazy. I did think to myself while I was watching that, I don't have the tools to make these things, so I probably am never gonna make these things.
Yeah, so there's a lot of tools I think necessary for that. But yeah, so cooking is a all seasons, year round hobby. Shows come out all the time. You can't go wrong any time of the year with picking up a cooking show if you're bored, watching it, making anything, and eat just practice cooking stuff.
One of my favorite things about Jesse and I's relationship, which we don't really talk about kind of our relationship very much, but we both have a love of cooking and we like to get better at it, and so sometimes we'll just kind of be hanging out on the couch and we'll put on Food Network, and it'll be some reruns of kind of our favorite shows like Chopped or Reed Drummond's show, and
Pioneer Woman,
that's the show. And then different things like that. So you're just kind of constantly watching it, and you're kind of constantly absorbing it, and you're just kind of making it better. And I don't think that, it's the Southern woman in me saying this, but I think that there's no better way to show how much you love someone than giving them food, because that's literally giving life. And so if you're putting good juju into your cooking, and you're giving it to people you love or people that need love, like if you're donating it to soup kitchens.
Yeah, that's something you could do too, and that's something we don't do, but that's something that, people could probably do out there if you're like, oh man, I want to cook, but all I can do is cook. Because, so that's a thing, and people say it all the time, but man, I wish I could cook recipes for one or for two, right?
Right.
But if you're cooking a lot of recipes, or a lot of food, and maybe that's the way to handle it. Yeah, that's something that you don't think about. You could store it, obviously, and do leftovers, but maybe you could just give it to somebody else, too.
Exactly.
A neighbor, a friend.
A friend who's going through something really hard, and because cooking takes a lot of time. So if you can help them
time, energy,
with time,
thought.
And energy, and thought.
The hardest thing about cooking is planning out the meals for the week.
Exactly, that too.
Save some time.
This all goes also into our diet, which, it's fun when you're on a diet and you're trying to get creative with how you're cooking and how you're kind of incorporating those thoughts into making something really tasty and something really healthy.
Right.
I think that's fun. Cooking
is very fun, and if people like this podcast and they want to hear more, we might get more into some cooking. We have a friend who does a cooking podcast by himself.
Yeah. Don.
Live, yeah. I'm not sure what it's called, or cooking.
We are really bad at promoting our friends whom we love so much.
We'll figure it out, but maybe we can find some way to talk about it more, because we just wanted to talk about it as our, just another interest we have, and diversify our podcast away from only talking about D&D.
Dungeons and Dragons all the time.
But yeah, definitely check it out.
But this is another way that, so going with Dungeons and Dragons, this is a way that you can incorporate two hobbies together. So if you have friends coming over, cook for them. Cook for them for your D&D group, or if you're watching football.
Every time we play D&D, we cook for people,
yeah. And if you're super into football and it's Super Bowl weekend, you cook for people. You can do that. It's super easy to find recipes on Pinterest that you can kind of make your own, or you can just try to make those. And it's fun. And they'll really love you for it. Your friends that are barely functioning adults will love it. Yeah. Will love you for it.
But as we wrap that up, I think we're done.
Yeah, you're feeling good? Yeah. You're feeling good with this?
I think this is enough time. It's a shorter podcast, and I am getting...
You're getting sleepy. Yeah.
I'm kind of running out of time.
So, well, let's wrap it up. I'll remind you guys of our giveaway. Yep. Today is the last date to retweet on social media.
Retweet, what are we doing? Comments with...
Comment, and you have to or follow our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, wherever
if you're commenting on the posts and stuff too, I think every single post they can comment on and get a different entry?
Yeah, right? And then sharing, you get 2 separate entries. So if you...
So go back in time, check out some of our other posts, and definitely comment something on theme if you can, right? Like, what's your favorite dish?
Game. Oh yeah, if you want to put your favorite
what's your favorite thing to cook for this one?
So don't forget to whatever your favorite food, whatever. Don't forget again to check out our giveaway on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Co-op the Podcast. Subscribe and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, wherever podcasts are consumed. And if we aren't available on your preferred podcast, like we're not on Stitcher right now because I don't know how to work that. No, I don't know how to do it. Let us know, and I will put more energy into finding out. So we'll try to get up there. Check us out on YouTube as well and subscribe there for future content. Eventually, we're going to start doing videos and streaming and stuff once life settles down. And
we're moving, so that's our biggest problem. So we will build a streaming studio once we get there.
Yeah! So, we get in a new place for your benefit, listeners, because we love you so much. You, with all of your comments and your retweets and everything on our giveaway, you basically gave us so many love points that we're putting it into a podcast. I
think we have over 1 trillion followers now.
At least 1 trillion.
Yep, so we're getting there.
Everybody in the world.
What's your handle on Twitter?
At Raven_co-op.
Yep, and you can follow me at JessieCO_OP. Follow us, follow at Co-op Podcast, and stay tuned.
Yeah. Okay, bye.